Greetings everyone, welcome to Advance. This game was played in European Club Cup. With the white pieces, we have our own speed demon, Nihal Sarin, facing off against Spartak, Grigorian, and this is going to be a really epic game. You're really gonna love, so I'm not gonna keep you waiting for long. So without further ado, let's start with this game. Hit knight to f3 was played, and Nihal actually won his first round, and now he's facing off in round 3, playing his second round. Let's see how he's able to do. He just goes for d5. Now just comes g3. This is the King's Indian attack. Knight to f6, bishop to g2, and now just going for the c6. This is the Yugoslav variation. d3, bishop to g4, and hey, just going for h3, pushing the bishop back. Bishop captures on f3 was played. Bishop captures and knight bd7 in this position, and just castles. We have e5 now, just taking control of the center, but really, because now just comes e4. D captures, bishop to c5 was played, and hey, just going for this knight to d2. Now not very much worried about that bishop here and the eyeing that he's doing. You can castle in this position as well. Well, you could have also got for a move like a4 in this position, because once the center has been closed off, I don't think it's hardly unlikely you're going to be doing anything towards the king side. At least what you can do is start pushing those pawns towards the queen side, and after castles you play queen to e2, a5 now, rook to d1, just eyeing that queen very decently, and here after queen to c8, now just play knight to d2, h6, knight to c4, and now just going for rook to e8 in this position, and after bishop to d2 you play queen to c7, h4, knight to f8, and after bishop to c3 your position is absolutely fine. After bishop to c5, unfortunately here knight to d2 was played, but now just comes castles in this position, and here just going for queen to e2, and now a5, pushing those pawns towards the queen side, but just comes a4, rook to e8, and here just goes to the same idea with rook to d1, now eyeing that queen. What do you do here in this position? Queen to c7 was played, but now just comes even h4. So Nihal is pushing and playing on both sides of the board. He is pushing and playing in Alpha Zero style. Will he be able to actually get the win the way Alpha Zero did? Well, we're gonna have to see. Here just comes knight to f8, and now we have knight to c4, knight to e6, and just comes c3, knight to d7, and just king to g2 was played. Knight to b6 now in this position. What do you do? Do you go for the trade, or do you play something else? Here bishop to g4 was played by Nihal, knight caps on c4 was played by Spartak, and you could have also got for a move like h6 in this position. Seems like a passive move, but it's not. A knight to e3. Now you just go for rook a to d8. Bishop captures, rook captures, and for queen captures, you play this knight to f5, and the position for Nihal would be really nice. But the thing is that h6, you don't allow the bishop to develop that easily. If you go there, I'll just trade. You don't have any other square. If you go to d2, it's a bit of a passive square. I mean, knight can jump in somewhere along the line, and your position would be really not that great. So that's why here bishop to g4, knight caps on c4 was played. Now just comes queen captures, queen to b6 now, putting some extra pressure. But in this position, Nihal played a spectacular move, and before showing you that move, hey, I mean, queen to e7 was much better in this position, because now once you push b3, h6, now just comes rook to a2, and after this rook a to d8, now just going for rook a to d2, rook captures, bishop captures, and after bishop to a7 you play bishop to e1, just defend everything, and most likely bishop to b6 you can play. You can also just push those pawns towards the queen side. You have not much, but you can at least defend decently. But after this queen caps on c4, queen to b6, and now there's trouble towards that, I mean, f2 pawn, but you can see the engine evaluation completely shot up, and that's why, because it was not a good move. You were supposed to play queen to e7 in this position, and the line that I showed you. But the thing is that now you have a chance to be able to actually put some pressure, and Nihal does it. He does it in absolute style. He goes for rook to d7 in this position, a beautiful rook lift, and just throwing that rook in black's face and saying that what are you going to do about it. He just comes h6. Finally you had to play, because taking away the g5 squares from the bishop, but now just comes rook to a2. You're going to develop that rook in a different manner. Bishop caps on f2 was played. I mean, you offered the pawn, so why not just grab it? But first comes queen to f1, attacking that. You could have also gone for a decent move in this position. I mean, you could go for queen to e2 and say, I mean, you're just doing the same thing, why not just go for this? But the thing is that it doesn't work, unfortunately, not in this one. Only queen to f1 works in this position, and that's the best move here. And after this knight to f8, here we have queen caps on f2, queen captures, king captures, and just going for this h5. First, pushing and asking white, where are you going to push the bishop? Because if you capture, then you just lose the rook for free. So here just going for this bishop to h3, but now just comes this knight caps on d7, and here just bishop caps on d7, rook e to d8, first attacking the bishop, but here bishop to h3. And the thing is that you can develop the bishop. There is no problem in that, but the trouble here is that I have two bishops for the rook. I have the bishop paired, and you're not going to survive this game. That's the problem. Here rook to d1 was played. Now just comes bishop to g5, rook to e8, and here bishop to f1, rook to e6, bishop to e2 attacking the rook to b1, and bishop caps on h5. And here rook to d6 was played. Now just comes this bishop to e2. You could have also gone for a move like f6 in this position, and after this play this bishop to d2, rook to d6, b4 now, and after a captures, you play the c captures, rook to d7, and just a5, push those pawns towards queenside, rook to d8, and bishop to e2, and your position would be absolutely spectacular, because the thing is that these bishops are doing everything in their power to be able to just not allow those rooks to communicate well and coordinate. But here after bishop caps on h5, here rook to d6 was played, and now just comes this bishop to e2, we have b6, but now just comes this b4, f6 now, finally pushing the bishop back, bishop to d2, king to f7 was played, but now just comes this b caps on a5, b captures c4 now, and here we have rook to d4, challenging both of those pawns. One is defended, one is not. Here, if you go for bishop caps on a5, your position is absolutely spectacular. Looks a bit dangerous because you are giving that up, but first comes c5, and here after bishop to d2, rook to d7, a5, rook to b8, and after bishop to e3, rook to c7. But the thing is that it's a very passive position. There's not much you can do. Bishop to d1, now you just go for this rook to a8, bishop to a4, rook c to a7, and after the bishop to d2, there is not much you can do. If you capture here, you know what's coming here. I mean, the position is just going to be really, really bad. And I can just, I mean, you capture that, I just rook captures, and after this bishop captures, I'm a piece up. There is not much you can do. You can just resign there. But after rook to d4, bishop to c3 was played first, rook to d7, bishop caps on a5, finally grabbing that, but he just rook b to d7, rook d to b7 was played, c5 now, pushing the pawns all the way. I can just put it here and push those pawns all the way, and it reminds me of another game that I might just cover, but I won't reveal it now because it was a spectacular game, similar to this really, where there was passed pawns, a bishop pair, and was a spectacular game in itself. But here just king to e7 was played. Now just comes bishop to b6, and it was on this move, on just move 40, that here Spartak Grigorian resigned the game, and Nihal Sarin gets his second victory in the 2 games that he has played. He's playing spectacularly well, and let's see what he has to offer in the further rounds. Really, he's playing very aggressively, and he's actually getting the reward for that as well. So let's see what he has to offer. I mean, really, King's Indian attack and just going all out, playing a crazy game, really shows his potential, and he's playing well. So yeah, thank you for watching. I'll be coming back with some of these amazing games, so stay tuned to the channel, stay updated, and I'll be seeing you guys very, very soon. Thank you very, very much for watching.